9:06. Time to talk tally on the box on the radio with Chris Philpott, of course, from the On the Box blog over at stuff.co.nz, where he talks TV almost on a daily basis. G'day there, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Very good, thanks. Let's dive straight into the news. Oh, yeah, are you going to say something?
No, it doesn't matter. I was just going to say there are bulletproof songs everywhere.
It is nice, isn't
it? That's about the fifth time I've heard it this week.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, he's going to be on the show next week, and you are going to have a chat to him. Mm. But that's music, Chris. We're here to talk TV. I'm telling you.
We are. Yeah, dude.
The first story up today about I saw this on Stuff earlier on the week. Teens lost in reality TV parallel universe.
Yeah, there's a study was printed in The Guardian last week, which said that I'm just reading from the story. It says around 82% of British young adults believe the country's celebrity culture has created unachievable role models that damaged their self-esteem. But it goes on to talk about a New Zealand girl who she's been watching this, and her dad believes that it's made her change her behaviour. What he says is that his daughter would watch any of these teen shows, your Jersey Shore, your The Real World, and Road Rules challenges and things like that on MTV.
Yeah, and
that she would try and emulate that behaviour, and then as soon as she was able to, she actually applied to and got accepted onto one of these shows because of bad behaviour that she'd been doing herself. She'd been in trouble with the police, and her dad thought that was purely so that she would get on the show. It's an interesting concept, and it comes into this whole thing, like, I'm going to get a little bit academic. It comes into this idea of what people do with what they watch on TV, and this one is it's a theory called observational, sorry, my words are not coming out properly.
Oh, good man.
Observational learning and cognitive scripts, which basically is people watch the TV, decide that is how they want to behave, and then try and emulate it. And it's a really scary thing, especially for someone like me. I've got a 10-year-old daughter. She'll be watching Jersey Shore before long, and hopefully she won't be trying to get spray tans and GTL or whatever.
Yes. Now, one part of me wants to believe this because I'm not a huge fan of reality TV stuff. There are some of them that I like, but and one part of me thinks, I could see that, but then you look at, say, like the games and violence on TV. Affecting people's behaviour, and you think, well, and I generally don't roll with that argument. So the two kind of just don't sit quite well. Oh no, where are you at with violence on TV? Does that affect people's behaviour?
I think I agree with you on that count. I don't think that watching The Walking Dead isn't going to make you more handy with a gun and go around killing people any more than watching Shortland Street will give you good dating advice. But I do think that reality TV is kind of an exception in that it gives people an alternative. It's like, being a reality star is now a career choice, and it's a real thing that people could do if they wanted to apply themselves to it. And that's something maybe that needs to be looked at a little bit further at an academic level. Yeah,
interesting. It definitely needs to be more research. A bit of sad news this week. Spartacus star Whitfield has died at the very young age of 37.
Yeah, Andy Whitfield. He's 37 years old. He's a Welsh-Australian guy, main guy in Spartacus Blood and Sand, of course, which was a series that aired last year on the box. It was on Sky. Very sad. He's passed away from non-Hodgkin lymphoma, whatever that is. It's a cancer of some kind. Either way, all cancer is very, very sad. And it's a very sad thing, not just for the show, but for him as well. He was really, had a lot of potential. I thought he could have gone a lot further than he had so far with Spartacus. You think about someone like Sam Worthington, who's another guy based in Australia, who's gone on to star in Avatar and Terminator Salvation. And I thought that could have been Andy Whitfield in a year or two, really, especially with another series of Spartacus Blood and Sand under his belt.
Yeah.
Would have made him a bit of a star, so it's very, very sad indeed.
It struck me, I never watched the show, and I'm not really familiar with him, but having seen some stills from the show, I'm just struck by the fact that he's such a fit young man, and so, absolutely buff. To fill the role of Spartacus, you've got to be the dude.
Yeah, you've got to be a bit fit.
And you can understand a traffic accident, or he gets shot, or something weird like that. But a wasting, disease like cancer. In his prime, it's horrible. Yeah, not good
It
at
is
all.
very, very sad indeed.
All right, let's dive into reviews. Let's review, oddly enough, the World Cup opening ceremony on Friday.
Yeah, it sounds like a weird choice, but it was really one of the best things that I've seen on TV in a while, and I'm going to explain why. If you think back to like the FIFA World Cup opening last year, or the Olympics opening in 2008, or even the Delhi opening ceremony last year as well, they're all really, you watch them on TV, and it's just a TV production of something that's meant to be experienced live.
Yeah.
Now, the Rugby World Cup opening, by contrast, was a real multimedia thing. It was, you could experience it live, but a lot of it, certainly the biggest part of it, was you had to be watching at home. It cut away from, during the introduction part of it, it cut away so that you could have, like, animated footage where it was flying through these mountain vistas and over lakes, and there was guys blowing whatever those vuvuzela-looking horn things are.
Yeah.
And it was really just combined the live experience with the multimedia experience, and it was maybe the first time that you had to be at home watching an opening ceremony to experience it properly.
Yeah, the full gamut of it, and it also shows the power of live TV, right? That on-demand TV isn't necessarily the future, or downloading or whatever. There are still going to be events like this opening ceremony where it unites the whole country at one time. You don't want to be the guy who sees it later on. You have to be seeing it with everyone else live. And as you said, if it's value added as well, like that you don't actually necessarily have to be at the event, if you get an extra experience from seeing those extra visuals mixed in, that's pretty cool.
Well, it was, there was the bit that was live in the stadium, the big screen on the field, and the giant trophy, and the little kid running around with the ball, which was cute. It was really good. And then, of course, there was all the fireworks down the waterfront. So there was, I don't know how many 100,000 people at the waterfront, less considering the trains weren't there. But, they got a different aspect of it as well. But the people at home kind of got everything. It was really, really cool.
Well, I got the experience of running up the hill behind my house, and with the rest of the community that obviously didn't go down to the waterfront, and seeing those fireworks as well. So it was quite something special for Aucklanders who could walk out the door, see something, go back inside, watch it on telly.
But I think the question that had struck me was, if we think about this idea that maybe the best place to experience that opening ceremony was at home in front of the television, I mean, that kind of makes it not necessary to go to the live event, doesn't it? You wonder if that takes away from the live event. And this is something, getting away from the ceremony to the actual rugby as well. Live sport in itself is now becoming kind of falling into this trap where it's actually better to watch it at home. The coverage is better. You get all the commentary, the camera angles, the pictures crisp and clear.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to bother going down to the actual game, spending half an hour on a train or trying to find a car park space and then going into this cramped little stadium and getting a beer spilt on you and sitting watching a game from 600 feet away from the field.
Hey, if you're into that experience, I mean, where else are you going to get that beer spilt on you? I mean, you couldn't you don't really want your mate next year to say, "Okay, come on, spill the beer on me. I want to experience this as I should."
Wrecks the couch. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, let's move on to what we shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, the Entourage finale was on Sunday night in the States, Monday afternoon here in the US, in New Zealand, sorry. It's an interesting one. Entourage is on TV too, at 11:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, yet I don't know many people who are watching it on there.
No.
Simply because it's just a really bad time slot. It's on after Undercovers, which is, maybe the worst show on TV.
Yeah.
But the big finale, the final episode ever made of the series was Monday afternoon, and I'm not a fan. I haven't seen the show really. I've watched about half a dozen episodes, but I thought it was worth mentioning that the finale had passed. You're a bit of a fan of Entourage, aren't you?
Yeah, I've come quite late to it. Started watching DVDs earlier on this year, just as one of those in-between shows where you don't want to sit down for a whole hour. You may not have the time, or you just want to watch something that's about 20 minutes. And so I started it, and I heard good things about it, but I was a little bit sceptical. It's, it can be hit and miss, but it certainly keeps me attentive. I do want to see what happens. I'm just about to start Series 6, and having met the guy as well, Adrian Grenier came in on the show last year, and I hadn't seen, so it was kind of weird interviewing him, and everyone's going, "You're interviewing Entourage man, and I'm like, well, I don't really know him, or but now having seen the show, I can see what people were talking about. Yeah. So no, it's I would still recommend it to people. Check it out if you've never seen it, and it's always good to get it on DVD and just watch it as much as you want or as little as you want as well. But interesting. So I want no spoilers from anyone. I will catch up eventually and finally see the finale. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you say there that it's hit and miss, because that seems to be the consensus with the finale, is that it was really a lot of mixed reviews from critics. That, bits of it were good, but it was still just the same kind of Entourage thing. And I don't really have much to say about it. It was an entertaining show, but it wasn't something that I could imagine myself sitting and watching entire series.
Yeah.
And that kind of is what the critics have said. One thing that did come through is that they're setting it up for a feature film. So, I don't know if we're breaking that news on Kiwi FM. But they're setting up, the finale sets up a full-length feature film being made by the creator, Doug Allen, which hopefully will be coming out next year.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that, and I think it'll do very well. Okay, what's coming up on New Zealand TV screens this week?
Well, there's a new comedy called Hot in Cleveland starting tonight, 8:30 p.m. on TV2. It's got Betty White in it, but don't hold that against it. I'm actually just excited because that TV show Bleep My Dad Says is gone now with William Shatner, which was just a horrible, horrible show.
Yeah.
Doctor Who's back tomorrow night on Prime.
Yep.
Continues the latest series with an episode called Let's Kill Hitler, which is an interesting title.
It is.
And it forms a pretty good double-header with Torchwood Miracle Day, of course, at 9:30 p.m. So
that's right.
Definitely a good viewing there.
And
then
I was going to say we have both been across those shows, and I do recommend both. And Doctor Who, quite good. It's getting back on form. It's getting darker. That's all I'll say. Yeah, very good.
Well, I mean, we can talk about this maybe next week after watching the episode, but I think the Matt Smith era on the show is maybe the best couple of series we've had so far since Russell Davies rebooted it, of course, back in 2005.
Yeah.
Then there's the Jonathan Ross show. Now, Jonathan Ross is one of the most entertaining talk show hosts around. I put him right up there. I would say he's even better than the likes of Graham Norton or David Letterman, the guys we've got. And his new show starts on TV1 on Friday, 8:40 p.m. It's only 13 days old, which is an interesting thing, where it's come really, really quickly. And this is something as well maybe we should talk about next week, because these networks are now sort of getting into being quick. The new Survivor series, for example, is going to be only a few weeks behind. The X Factor is coming a day behind from the US. And yet, for some reason, Fringe is a year behind. I don't know what the logic is there. So, and then lastly, there's The End of the Line, which is a really good documentary about the effects of overfishing, which is on TVNZ 7 on Saturday at 9. And definitely that's really good watching for anyone who is kind of interested in nature and how we're affecting the planet. It's a really good documentary.
Cool. Sounds great. All right. Check out all of those and find this as a video, of course, once more, up at kiwifm.co.nz. Just click on the Radio Whammer Show page link, and you can also find Chris Philpott blogging about TV stuff over at stuff.co.nz in the entertainment section there as well. Also, twitter.com/Chris Philpott NZ. Thanks, Chris. See you next week.
Thank you.